Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Thursday, April 7th. This is your daily Buckeye Fix. I'm Tom Orr. The spring game is in 9 days, the Notre Dame game in 149 days, the game against Michigan in 233 days. The Buckeyes picked up a big commitment for their 2023 class on Wednesday, adding safety Malik Hartford out of Lakota West High School in Cincinnati. Hartford's ranked as a top 150 prospect in the 247 composite, a top 100 prospect by overall by 247 itself. Now, he's a name we've mentioned a few times this week, but Kevin Noon made the trip down to Hartford's commitment ceremony on Wednesday, so now you can get a chance to hear from him directly. We're going to start today's show with a few sound bites from him, and then talk about the Ohio State quarterbacks. So here's a few of the things Hartford had to say about why he picked Ohio State, his relationship with the coaching staff, and more.
I'll be furthering my athletic and academic career at the Ohio State University. Just the overall program. It's a great program. I have plenty of opportunities going there, and I want to get developed, and they can do that. I'm going to be a hard worker, give effort on every play, and, I love the game, so I'm going to give it my all.
Now on to the quarterbacks. These are always some of the interviews that draw the most attention each spring. All three scholarship quarterbacks, Stroud, McCord, and Devin Brown spoke to the media on Wednesday, and you're going to get a chance to hear from all three of those guys today. As usual, these clips are courtesy of the Ohio State University Athletics Department. We'll start with exactly the guy you'd expect us to, Stroud. This is potentially a contract year for Stroud, in addition to being a shot to win the Heisman, beat Michigan, win the Big Ten, potentially the national championship. Safe to say there is a lot on the line for him between now and January. One of the things that seems like it should make him a lot better between now and then is a chance to work against what should be a vastly improved Ohio State defense every day in practice. So what is it like facing a Jim Knowles defense in practice every day? You're going to hear that answer, and then a follow-up from Austin Ward of Letterman Row.
It's a good thing for the whole offense. They do a lot of different things, and they have different ways to get to different coverages, which is really good for my eyes to see, not just seeing cover one, cover three, or just base coverage every day. So I definitely appreciate Coach Knowles bringing in that new kind of swagger to the defense, and it really helps our offense.
Has that led to any growing pains for you, seeing different stuff every day in practice?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's practice. I try things. I try new things. I try to get better. Try whatever I can, really, just to see what I can do and what I cannot do. So I think it's been challenging. I think it's a good thing.
How much of a difference is there really for him now as compared to a year ago? Where has he noticed a big change in his game?
I mean, things change. Of course, you get more reps behind you. You kind of see it better. I think that's definitely something I'm doing better, is just kind of feeling the game more. I think I've always had a good mindset of coverages and seeing blitzes and things of that sort. But it's just you're getting better and better. You're maybe one thing that took you 30 seconds to pick up, maybe take you 10 now. So that's something I'm kind of picking up on.
Stroud's life has changed a lot over the past year as well, as he was a Heisman finalist, record-breaking passer, and now one of the biggest stars in college football. So it would be easy to get a big head and kind of feel like you're too important for everyone else on the team. Now, but Ryan Day has talked this spring about how Stroud is still staying very humble, staying very focused through all of this. So how has he done that? If you are someone who grew up around multiple siblings, I think you'll appreciate the end of this answer.
Just being grounded on my faith, and then just having a good support system, a good foundation back home, and then here as well. So, I mean, I just try to lean on God, and God is also, he's humbled me, and he's he's shown me humility. So, I mean, different things like that I've been through in my life has shown me that you don't want to boast all the time, because then he'll humble you. So that's something that I learned. My mom always teaches me to be humble ever since I've been a baby. So my pops did that as well, my brothers, my sisters. I mean, being the youngest out of a group of 5, I mean, they kind of pick on you. So, I mean, that shows you to be humble as well. So I definitely got that a little bit. So shout out to my brothers and sisters for that.
Even this last year, even now?
Yeah, they always, I mean, my sister, she doesn't ever give me the benefit of the doubt. Every time she sees me, she calls me a big moose and all type of different names and stuff. So, I mean, but I appreciate it. It feels good not to get praised by everybody, you know what I mean?
After the transfer of Jack Miller, the big moose is now the most veteran player in the quarterback room, with only sophomore Kyle McCord and true freshman Devin Brown in there with him. So what kind of change has he seen out of McCord now that he's in his second season? You'll hear that. And then a couple of follow-ups from Colin Gay of Rivals.
He's become much more mature. He knows the offense better. I mean, he's moving around the pocket more. He's getting a lot of more reps, just being himself. I mean, I think your first year is kind of more so you're just trying to fill it out. And I think that that's a good thing that he's done. And I think this year he's kind of just putting his foot down and being a leader and trying to help out with the offense to become better.
You said it's not different, but do you see it as is it different to see it as a veteran, though, having been through it before and kind of knowing what to expect, especially with a guy like Devin in the room, kind of experiencing everything for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, my role is just to be a big brother to them and show them guidance and show them the things that I see. Maybe it could help them. Maybe they see it different. I know Justin did that with me. I know Dwayne probably did that with his younger guys. So, I mean, I just think that's just the Buckeye way. I mean, Cardell even helps me now. So, I mean, I appreciate those guys for helping. So I'll try to do the same.
Sorry to interrupt. What do you see out of Devin over the course of these first?
I mean, Devin is really excited me. I think he's going to be a Buckeye great, honestly. I think he has a lot of intangibles that he has. I actually see myself in him when it comes to, like, the way he moves in the pocket, the way he throws the ball, his throwing motion. He has a lot of similarities that I have, and he runs the ball really well, too. So just good kid, smart, appreciates the game. Really, he wants to be here. So, I mean, I appreciate people like that.
All right, so now let's talk about those younger guys. We'll start with McCord, who enters year 2 with 1 start and a bunch of backup reps under his belt now. How much more comfortable is he as compared to this time last spring? You'll, in this answer, hear him mention Marvin. That is wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., who was McCord's high school teammate before they both arrived at Ohio State last year. Also one of McCord's best friends on the team. You'll also hear you'll hear a follow-up also from Bill Landis of The Athletic.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I was talking to Marvin about it right before the first spring practice, and it was funny. I was talking to him. It was like, this time last year, you're stressing. You hope you remember the plays when you go out there. You don't know what to expect, and then a year later, you're a lot more relaxed, confident. So it means the world.
How's that show up on the field, Kyle? I guess just being relaxed.
Right. Yeah, I think it just slows everything down. From offensive standpoint, I think I'm not thinking about the playbook too much as I have it memorized, and then you're more so able to focus on the details while playing, and it's just everything's moving slower. So
McCord came to Ohio State as a 5-star prospect and one of the most sought-after players in his class. So when CJ Stroud won the starting quarterback job last fall and it became pretty apparent there was at least a pretty decent chance McCord was going to have to be the backup for this year as well, a lot of people wondered if he might hit the transfer portal to go find a quicker path to the starting job. He would not be the first and probably not the last quarterback to think about doing that. But McCord says he's trying to take the long view on all of this. You'll hear his answer on that, and then another follow-up from Bill Landis.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a marathon, not a sprint. And looking at it from the bigger picture, I think coming here you realize how well you're coached by Coach Day, Coach Dennis, Coach Fitch. So that was really important to me. And on top of that, I feel like just being here, I learned a lot. And so I know that a lot of people thought I could have left and went somewhere else and tried to start this year, but in the long term, I thought it was the best decision for me to stay here and continue to get developed.
Was there ever a time you were tempted?
No, during the season, I was just focused on the season, and then I just let everything work itself out. So I was never really thinking about it, but I know a lot of people were trying to put words in my mouth, but no.
Is it wild to you at all that you've been here 15 months and the nature of your position is that you get asked questions like that?
Man, it's crazy. It is crazy. I'm still close with Jack and Quinn, and we talk about it. Just the talent in that room last year was unbelievable, and I think people are going to look back on that room in 5-10 years and be like, wow, we had 4 really special guys. And so it definitely is crazy just the way everything played out, but I think it all played out in the right way.
McCord got his first career start against Akron last fall when Stroud had to sit a week because of a shoulder injury. What was that like to start a primetime game just a few weeks into your true freshman season? You'll hear that, and then a couple more follow-ups from Bill Landis, who's pretty much a co-host on this episode, I think, as well.
It was wild. I wasn't sure if CJ was going to play up until about Tuesday or Wednesday, and then when I got the green light, it was kind of like surreal almost, knowing that I was true freshman starting my first game, but I think it kind of wore off around Thursday, Friday, and then really had to lock in and focus. And it definitely was, looking back on it, was a really cool experience.
How much do you still think about that game? In the grand scheme of the season, maybe people don't think about the Akron game,
right?
But that was your
yeah. I think that game was a great learning experience because you can practice and watch film all you want, but nothing is like the real deal when you step out there in the field. So just the amount of things that I learned, starting one game, it's ridiculous. So I think that was just a great stepping stone, helping me develop faster and just learn the overall game.
Looking back on it, what are the things you remember, maybe some of the lessons you took from it?
I think when you get in that game environment, everything happens a little bit faster. You see a lot of different schemes that you might not see in practice, and we were doing some stuff in scout, and you see a completely different look on the field, so just adjusting it out on the fly, just things like that you can't really replicate in practice, which was good.
And finally from McCord, one more question about why he chose to stick things out in Columbus instead of transferring out. He got asked a similar question to the one you heard earlier, but had a little bit of a different way of discussing it here, and it seemed like it was an interesting enough answer that we should share that one with you as well.
It's ridiculous. I mean, especially now with the transfer portal, I feel like, if something isn't going the way a guy expected it to, fans and even the player might think, I can just put my name in the portal and, change a situation like that. But, I think you just have to see the bigger picture of it. I mean, what more could I want being at a school like this, getting coached by, the best coaches in the world? So I didn't really even think about it at all, to be honest. And I think you just got to see the bigger picture. I mean, yeah, do I want to play this year? Of course. But I think you got to look at it from, a long-term perspective.
Finally on today's show, it is true freshman quarterback Devin Brown. He is the third stringer right now, and there's really not a ton of pressure on him to be ready to start right away. And while there's still a lot to learn, it sounds like Brown feels like he's maybe a little ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big learning curve. I really felt like, I honestly felt like I expected worse, but it's been pretty smooth. I mean, I love this room. Me and Kyle are really close. Me and CJ are really close. Me and Chad, literally there's no hatred for anybody in this group. Everybody loves each other. Everybody wants the best for each other. It's a really cool environment in there, and it's so cool to learn from each one of them. And it's so crazy how much each guy knows and how different everybody's game is, and just kind of feed off of each other.
One of the things you hear freshmen talk about a lot is adapting to the speed of the college game, and Brown is no exception. His wide receivers are as big and fast, and it sounds like they catch almost anything. But that defense, it sounds like, is also bigger and stronger and faster than it was at the high school level, too.
The window for error is a lot bigger because, our targets are a lot bigger and they can make a lot better catches than guys we've had in the past. But the speed really isn't in terms of the receivers. I had speed of receivers. Like my slot receiver, Cody, he's going on to play Division I football and one of the fastest kids in the country. So that's really not the biggest learning curve. It was more so just the speed of the defense, speed of the D-line. That's coming a lot faster than in high school.
Not only are those defenders coming faster than anything Brown saw in high school, the defensive scheme they're running is also way more complex as well. How big of a challenge has that posed for him this spring?
I never really had to worry about protections in high school. It was like our protection was, we were either pass blocking or run blocking, and our pass blocking was the same thing every time. So it really wasn't ever different for me in high school. So getting out here, I got to know what blitzes I got coming and what fronts we have, what defense has. So there's a lot of different things that can go into play. So.
And finally, a lot like McCord, it sounds like Brown is taking something of a long view on his development. Ryan Day always talks to his quarterbacks about not riding the emotional roller coaster, just focusing on getting a little bit better every day. Brown sounds like he's taken that message to heart.
No doubt. I think it's definitely just continuing on every practice. It gets better every practice. Those first few snaps live, it's like, wow, it's coming fast. You got guys on your face, you can't see routes, but it'll just over time slow down, and I'll know where guys are at. And you're never really looking at guys in front of you unless he's right in your face. So you got to trust in your line, trust in your running backs.
Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that show. We are just a little over a week away from the spring game. Hard to believe it's almost here. We'll be talking a bunch about that spring game kind of in this weekend and then headed into next week as we head into the final home stretch of the spring game next Saturday, April 16th at Ohio Stadium. If you are interested, tickets are $7, and you can buy them at ohiostatebuckeyes.com. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.